Good evening, everybody. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening to you, because we've not seen each other for ages. Have we?
No, indeed.
No.
Glad that we're all still here.
Officially a family bubble again.
Yeah, family
We're a
bubble.
family
Cheers to
bubble.
the
Cheers
kettle.
to it.
Kettle's intact.
Cheers
to all.
to it.
Cheers.
Cheers
to
to
all.
it.
A normal kettle evening that we've arranged for ourselves now is to mic ourselves up and start singing some songs.
Yeah, this is how
Yes.
we normally live. People mic'd up.
Loads of reverb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
During
right.
lockdown, we've
massive
just in the house generally. We've while hoovering, polishing, we've had microphones on.
So what we decided to do was sort of like decided to play some songs that we don't normally play anywhere at any time. But we also wanted to revisit some of our past as well, some of the old songs. Some of you may be aware that there was a band called the Tansads. I guess we're going to go back to those days and hope you like it.
How long ago was it, that?
I think Tansads started in 1989.
1989.
I think
you wasn't
what?
even born.
Do you know what? I
You
think
weren't
Thanks,
born.
John.
it was 1989, and I was a member from 1990 to 1997.
But you weren't barely born, were you, either, when you
No,
were
I
in
was
it?
I was
You were 16.
I sort of 16 when you asked me to be in the band. You know, and be honest with you, I came down to a rehearsal that day. I sort of don't remember it. But I must have came back again after I'd done it. You know what I mean? Because when you asked me to be in the band, I'd never thought of being in a band anyway. And but we must have kept coming back, and then at some point I decided that I was never going to do anything else. Like, you know what I mean?
Wow.
So
So would you still have been in your school uniform then?
No,
More
I think
or less, or
no,
had
I
you
think
just left?
I think I'd left. I
Right.
left at 16, so
Yeah.
you were working for Gores.
I was working in a joiner's shop at that time, and yeah, and I like as the story goes, you know, I was singing a song. I'd learned a few chords off these two. They were the sort of musical ones in the house, and I'd learned a few chords so that I could listen to records and work songs out. In fact, they mostly worked them out and taught me the chords. As long as it didn't have F in it, I was okay, you know.
Yeah.
And we had an album, a Simon and Garfunkel Greatest Hits album, and my favourite song on the album was Bridge Over Troubled Waters, but I couldn't play that, so I learned Kathy's song, and I was playing that in front room, out at way. I only ever did it when there was nobody in, really. And he just bobbed his head right down and said, "Is that you singing?" And I said, "Yeah," and he went, "Do you want to be in a band?" And I sort of was like, "Don't know, it might do." And he said, "Come to rehearsal," and we rehearsed at the time in St Helens, or they'd arranged to start rehearsing in St Helens at a place called the Dead Fly that some of the local musicians had got together in some old derelict buildings. I think it was on the Pilkington site, and there was just buildings going cheap, and they rented space in there, and we went, and I must have turned up, and that's it. Like, I don't really remember after that, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just sort of, I don't remember individual rehearsals or anything like that. Just that was how it went. Like,
Wow.
Yeah.
1989.
1989. So over 30 years ago, I think the first album was about 1990, 1991.
Well, it
something
was,
like
yeah.
that. And yeah, we were trying to think of some of the old songs that we used to play.
Yeah.
You know, back in the mist of time. So I don't know, what did we say?
What
did we say we were
Well,
going to do?
I tell you, the first one we're going to do is a song called Spirit Move, and one of the reasons for doing this is to dedicate and placate our long-suffering manager Damien Liptrot, who has moidered us, if you're from another part of the country, to do this for
About 31 years.
about 31 years. So here is a song called Spirit Move. It's a good old-fashioned hippie politics song. Spirit Move. If you've lived in the hollow hills of hatred and And if you're fooled by the government game, and if you're blind, then brother, we're related. Brother, you and I are just the same. Na 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 na. Na 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 na.
Come, my love, come away to the crystal water. Come, my love, to the center of the earth. Come, my love, turn away from the fields of slaughter. I'm a child like you for what it's worth. Hey,
Na 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 na. Na 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 na.
Spirit move in the Highland spires of Scotland. Spirit move on the southern plains. Spirit move in the green hills of Connemara, down the river Tyne and back again.
Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na.
Spirit move in the lonely and the hopeless. Spirit move in the anger and the pain. Spirit move in the hungry and the homeless. Gather all your children once again.
Na 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 na. 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 Hey, see? See?
I'll remember.
See there?
After 30 years.
Yeah, so that's really
Yeah,
cool.
that's the first time we've played it light.
Yeah, do remember that with that song that that you'd wrote that, John, and there was like half, it was sort of half finished, or there was a verse missing at the end, and we were recording in a council flat of one of our mates. We'd hired some gear and in Worsley Hall in Wigan, a very salubrious spot in a fancy recording studio, and we hired some gear and we was in this council flat, and you felt that there was a verse missing, and you just basically said to Bob, write another verse. You know?
And he did too, and that was a massive pattern with Tansads, that actually, and still, and Merry Hell as well. Absolutely, it's a thing that Bob and I have done over the millennia, where I start them off, and he finishes them off. That's why they get better as they go along. You know, but it very much was that, and I think it was done in an instant, and then tracked in Terry's flat, on very rudimentary gear. I remember, but that was the times then, wasn't it? And dead punk rock sort of independent sort of music making attitude. Then it was great actually. Yeah. Good times actually those.
Loads of them were like that though. You'd sort of start them off, and I would finish them more or less.
Yeah.
What was the one?
What I was going to say, like, I was looking at the list of songs that we've got for play. I was just saying, sort of fast forwarding from that time, you know, that really sort of rudimentary time. We then started, you know, later on in the 90s, we got a little bit of notoriety and got offered the show on Irish television. What was the guy's name? What was the composer's name?
Jerry Anderson.
Jerry Anderson on his show. It's kind of like a Wogan style chat show. Jimmy Nail was on the show, and a supermodel that
It was the woman from the Champions, actually.
that's the guy, and the fella who was with her is the Scottish lad who I'm sure he was in the X-Men
Oh,
films.
I'll tell you who else was on it. It was Gary Kemp.
Right, is that who it
Gary
was?
Kemp was it?
And,
Spandau,
Not Gary Camp.
So
Not
he
Gary
was.
Camp.
Gary Camp. We should not have his name
that'd
taken
be
in vain. We love you, Gary. We love
we-
you, Spandau.
Yeah, similar to Camp David, but just Camp Gower.
We were hired to sort of do that thing where they put a band on, an up and coming band on who play the show out live, you know. Yeah. And it was up to that point one of the most terrifying things any of us had ever done, you know.
Proper telly.
And it's proper telly, yeah. And Jimmy Nail's band, I think they did Crocodile Shoes or something like that. But they had sort of mimed, you know. So they'd set up in the afternoon and then just gone out drinking. It was in Belfast, actually. They'd gone out drinking in the afternoon, and we just sort of just was terrified. And we'd rehearsed to an inch of our lives. You know, John was really, really keen to keep us all on the straight and narrow.
I was frankly uptight about it.
Well, uptight,
Yeah.
or just trying to keep us on the straight and narrow with it. But we
Well, we'd never played it before live.
no, but there's
song.
sort of a fiddly intro that John had to do, and I just remember we were sort of every time we stopped on the road in the tour bus, the guitar would come out and we were playing it, you know, and he was practicing that intro over and over again, and we got to the point where we could sort of do it in our sleep. It was like really sick of it, really, you know what I mean? And then John, would you like to play the intro that you played that day? It's a sweet melody that
It
went
is.
something like this.
That's what it's meant to be.
Well, what did you play?
I did this.
Well done, John.
Yeah.
And I remember the fear in your eyes that day.
God.
And well, it was
Terrifying.
It was pure. It was pure. There was so much like sort of there was mitigation. I remember because I think we'd been on telly once before, but there was a camera right there on my hand, and I felt my hand going like that. and we'd actually over practiced. I think you can over practice a song, you know, to the point of so that it was an high tension circuit in everybody, and Jimmy Nail's band as well they were nice lads actually, but they were miming on our gear, and they'd just done it and they'd finished. They were using it. They were just standing against our gear, and we came across them in the elevator on the way from to the stage, sort of thing, and they just said, "Changed all your settings on your amps." And you know what they had as well? They'd sort of fiddled. They'd
put
ladies
it all
and
up to
gentlemen.
11,
They'd put everything up to 11.
Just messes
So-
up like.
So there was trauma. There was trauma before, and I just remember that more. It's kind of emblazoned in my memory that playing that with shaking hands, like when you're doing your driving test and your clutch foot's doing that.
Yeah.
Demonstrating the clutch foot there, ladies and gentlemen. And fear struck me, but then it rippled out through the band, and we played song 3 times faster than it should have been, and you could literally feel the whole band trembling.
Yeah.
You know, but we acquitted ourselves all right. And I remember Guy Keegan saying to me, was that not you know what, different drummer, different story. We'll have a Guy Keegan story later on, but it was our then drummer had said to us just before we started. This is another stress-inducing thing. God love him. He said, I'm about to take my shirt off. And it was this like beautiful ballad sort of thing with all these like sort of Grecian colonnades around us, you know. And he fancied taking his shirt off just before we started playing. It
threw you. Threw you a bit.
It threw me. It threw me.
Yeah.
I think we had a few words as we weren't unaccustomed to
Well,
it.
when you said, I'd rather you didn't.
Yeah, but anyway, so it was just this song. It was called She's Not Gone. Now, after we've done it, I'll tell you where it came from, really. But we'll try and do it anyway. Here it is. I'm going to try and play it right chords. Let me know I go. not gone, would she forgive me for living inside a dream when I have no comprehension, for feeling like a child who's craving some attention. Oh no, she's not gone. Oh no, save us from the thieves who tried to take her. And I know she's only asleep. I try to wake her, but she's flying around the world to suss out her direction. She's turning into the swan, the blown away perfection. Oh no, she's not gone. Oh no. All behind the indolent and hollow. She's taking her own good time. She doesn't need to follow. Oh no, she's not gone. She's not gone. Oh no, she's not gone. Oh no, she's not gone. Yeah.
Gorgeous. Very nice.
Well done.
But you know, we're making that song up. There was a song in Tansads that we didn't actually play that much because our crowds were dead sort of punk rock and quite noisy and bawdy, and we were scared of playing ballads, you know. So it was that sort of thing that we wouldn't do, you know. And we've sort of abandoned that now in Merry Hell. We've kind of grown out of that sort of thing of only playing fast things. But I made that up basically about me grandma when she died. It was a song about somebody dying and not really understanding why. I think she died when I was about 17. And it was the first time that anybody I'd really been close to or loved had ever passed away. And the experience of watching somebody go from this sort of like beautiful sort of like ebullient woman, northern woman, to something very much smaller was like really quite horrific, you know. To my young sort of soul, you know, and that was a song essentially about that, about letting, about that sort of experience. So
I have to say, we've probably not spoke about this, you know, me before, which is really odd that it should come up now. But I think that was my first, when my grandmother was in. We went visiting my grandma in hospital just as she was dying, and. When all three of us were taken, as he was about 17, as he says, I was a lot younger, of course, you know, because I'm the young, good-looking one. But like that was the first time I'd ever seen actual grief in my life, and wasn't me. I wasn't experiencing grief. I was watching my brother, because he got really sort of angry and upset and went out into the corridor. And I remember him sliding down walls, sitting in corridor, and that was harder for me to watch than to see my grandma ill. You know what I mean? She was just a person in a bed at that point. You know, I didn't understand. I was too young. But that's honestly the first time, and I know we've never spoke about that before, so it's very strange that should come up now. But that's what songs do, innit? You know what I mean?
It really is, yeah. It's a beautiful
That's why we
song.
do it.
Yes, it is.
Can I ask a question? Because quite a number of Merry Hell members were in the Tansads at one time or another. I know in 1989, Andy Jones, our drummer, wasn't there because he was with me in France. We were in a band, like a stonking rock band at the time. But Lee Golding, our keyboard player, when did he hit the Tansads train?
Not right at the beginning, but for most of it.
Yeah.
He was certainly, I remember when we did that telly appearance, Lee was on it because he had long flowing, he's on the internet, you can see him, ladies and gentlemen.
I'd say about 93, 94.
Yeah, 90 up the
Right,
Shirkers post, when Kudo left, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Lee,
and
Dom and Shrub.
Well, that's
yeah.
it. The original keyboard player was David
Shrub,
Atherton.
yeah.
David
Who we're
Atherton,
still sort of
he
in
was-
touch with now.
I think lives in Spain now.
He
Hello,
does, yes.
David. He's a lovely boy and a great conversationalist, I have to say.
That's great.
Sure, he couldn't get a word in when he was in the Tansads, but you can
Oh, he
now,
did.
David. Lovely to see you.
He did. He had a few quite beautifully witty words from time to time. Very great artistic sensibilities as well.
That's it. But then
was Kudo, wasn't
that's
it?
it. Lee joined us after that. And was that for Shirkers or was that for the album after?
I think it was Flock.
Flock,
I think
so
he
that was
came
the
in on Flock.
third
I think
album,
Kudo and Dom Lowe were in for Shirkers.
Yes.
In accordion and keys and percussion. That's what they were doing, and then that had its time. They had they left the band, and then I think Lee was proper in then from Flock onwards, and a great touring portion of the band when we were absolute tour monsters. My enduring memory of Lee actually is that Ed Jones, who was the then bass player, used to call him the sort of band puppy because he was really young and he couldn't sit still for so long, and he was always like, let's what get picked up first out at van, and he wanted more wheeze than any other human being could ever feasibly want. So wherever you were,
Not these days though.
We're going.
It's all changed.
It's all changed now.
We're pretty even now.
Yeah. Well, at least even, you know, the...
But he always would. He would like you'd open the van door and
scales
he'd
of
just rock it off. He'd just rock it off wherever you were, you know, like a sort of.
I remember one enduring memory really is riding. I think we were in Manchester trying to find the Roadhouse.
Yeah, Tip Street.
And we were sort of driving round and round block trying to find this place, you know what I mean? Lee had claimed that he knew where it was, you know what I mean, was guiding us. And he's the quote that stuck with me, and I still use it, is, I'll know where I am when it gets familiar. was what he said.
Perfect sense to me.
Yeah. So there you go. It's a vision into Lee Golding. But I wanted to say about the next song that's coming up, because you were saying about ballads and stuff like that, and the rock and roll side of the band. This next song that we play, I have my memory of that song is we got a tour with Stiff Little Fingers and played 5 dates with them, I think.
Wow.
The pinnacle of which was Glasgow Barrowlands. And that even was a capacity audience. And in the afternoon, a young fellow had turned up who knew the promoter, and he'd said, listen, I've got a little band together. Is there any chance of being on the bill tonight? And he said, well, it's really, you know, look at the posters, it's just, he said, oh, go on, mate, you know, put us on. He said, oh, go on then, I'll give you sort of 20 minutes. So
Ex-Cathedra.
it was Ex-Cathedra, there you go. Yeah. So they played on the stage, on the marvellous Barrowland stage, and 3,500 punks ignored them, thinking that they were the Tansads.
Because there was only 2 names on poster, you know.
So they just thought that's all the Tansads, and they did that thing. What you do, you ignore the support act.
Wait for your
headline act.
Yeah, of course.
So when when the lights went down and we were waiting to go on, the place erupted, thinking that it was Fingers that was coming on.
They weren't shouting Tansads,
no, it was like, Fingers, Fingers, like that. You know, it place, this sort of like, this vibe built it place, and it dawned on me at that moment, they think Fingers are coming on now, and they're not. We're going to get lynched. We're going to get murdered. We're going to die. It was a scary enough gig as it was. We'd picked 6 of our fastest tracks, you know, for play.
We had roller skates on.
Yeah. Which the sort of the curtain went up, as it were, and the place erupted, and then went, oh, like that. And then a beer glass went right over the top, you know what I mean? Right over the very top. It didn't hit anybody. And we just went into the gig. I stood on the monitors. I was terrified. It's the only gig that I could say that if somebody had opened a fire exit and said, go on, son, I'd have been away on my toes. Right? It's the only gig I've ever thought about running away.
Yeah.
Right? I was so scared. And I stood on the monitors and stirred these people down, like, and just because he's sort of like, just give it to them. Do you know what I mean? So, like, that's what we did. And a really proud moment at the end, we always played this next song last. And really at the end, when the spotlights were flying out over the audience, to the back of the room, there was people's hands in the air, and we sort of won. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was a real sort of like a pivotal moment for me. That it was like a real sort of, I thought, do you know what? We've actually.
And we met some people as well at that gig that we stayed with our band throughout from then on.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It was a real turning point, I think, that gig.
Jez, they were all those lads from Birmingham, you know, were like sort of just.
And on that tour, when we went down to Bristol, Sue Hatfield and so forth,
right?
Still with us. Still, so hello to you.
Yeah. So there you go. So we'll try and rend this song in a tender fashion.
What's it called?
It's called Up the Revolution.
Ah.
Come and repossess me. Come and repossess me. Come and repossess me. The revolution's here. B&B is better. B&B is better. B&B is better. The revolution's here. And if I were the King of England, I'd have you all round on Sunday. Then we'd tighten our tourniquet, drop a bomb on Moray Campbell. Down the shops on Sunday, down the shops on Sunday, down the shops on Sunday. The revolution's here. Work all the hours at God's end. Work all the hours at God's end. Work until your life ends. The revolution's here. And if I were the King of England, I'd have you all round on Sunday. And then we tighten our tourniquet to drop the bomb on Moray Campbell.
That's an energetic band, wasn't it?
Ex Cathedra, great name.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
smashing
Brilliant
that.
name.
But
Absolutely
nearly got
brilliant.
you all killed.
Nearly got us killed.
So thanks a lot, ex-Cathedra.
Do you remember when the manager, Fingers manager, came in? I can't remember his name, but forgive me if you've ever listened to this, but I'm sure he looked a bit like Danny DeVito. Do you remember? He was like and he came into our dressing room after, and he gave us a bottle of Jack Daniels, and he said, "There you are, you survived it. Not many do. Thanks very much. Enjoy," sort of thing.
That's it, lovely. And Bruce Foxton was in the band. He was playing bass.
He was on bass,
So-
wasn't he? Yeah.
So the first albums, pop albums that we had bought for us at Christmas time, I remember John got All Mod Cons by The Jam, and I got Inflammable Material by Stiff Little Fingers. And we were then in a situation of being playing with and kind of meeting and mingling with our kind of heroes, you know,
Wow,
from being
yeah.
little lads, you know. So
The chain, it's like the chain,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it brought both albums together.
absolutely
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
absolutely that. So that was a nice thing. That.
Very nice.
Yeah. Can we remember any more from the Tansads time? What shall we?
I tell you what, that one, play that one, John.
What were we doing?
About 3 or 4, 5 every night we played. What was it? Big Wednesday.
Oh yeah. Janet used to sing it, didn't she?
Yes,
That
she
one.
did.
Yeah.
So
And
Did you play it on Thursday and Friday as well?
well, it didn't have the same impact.
no.
Do you know what I mean?
No.
Big Wednesday, yeah. That was a very early song, that wasn't it? That was
That was first
Shandyland
album as well.
Shandyland as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But it stuck right to the bitter end. Might need
Can you remember it?
might need a bit of a note.
I'd
on
like
this.
to take a minute to raise my glass to Janet Anderton, actually.
Indeed, yeah.
Because as a woman in a band full of men, I know what that's like, and
And these
hats
men.
off to you, because you held your own and had a
She did.
stonking voice as well. Cheers,
Cheers, Janet.
Janet.
Cheers, yeah. And it's I'm wondering, should we turn some lights on here at all? Is that
Is
a
it
little
lighting
bit?
up time?
I think it might be lighting up time.
Right. Well, you
it
get
might.
started, and I'll illuminate you as you play.
Right, what are we doing? It's Big Wednesday.
Big
isn't
Wednesday,
it?
play
Big Wednesday we were talking about.
Okay. They're selling off the water, they're selling off the sky, they're selling off the air we breathe and the magic in our eyes. But I do not believe the glory, because the glory's been and gone. It has bought and sold my mother and my father, it has won. Oh, I think I'm mad. Oh, I think I'm glad to go dancing round the streets in my Technicolor coat. As long as sugar comes in lumps and the lump is in my throat, there's two massive things that I have been waiting for today. That's a rolling English field on Big Wednesday. They're selling off the hospitals, they're selling off the gas, they're selling off the water, they've eradicated class. And they all live in the city in a great big crock of gold, and they all cover like porkers, the young uns and the old. Whoa, I think I'm mad. Whoa, I think I'm glad to go dancing round the streets in a Technicolor coat. As long as sugar comes in lumps and the lump is in my throat, there's two massive things that I have been waiting for today. That's a rolling English field on Big Wednesday. Hey, hey, hey. Oh, don't think that I'm moaning, don't think that I'm sad to be walking on this planet. Though it seems quite mad, it's just my armchair is so comfortable. Philosophy is cool, and the title of my essay is how to play the rules. And oh, I think I'm mad. Oh, I think I'm glad to go dancing round the streets in my Technicolor coat, as long as sugar comes in lumps and the lump is in my throat. There's two massive things that I have been waiting for today. That's to build Jerusalem on Big Wednesday. Hey, 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 hey.
Yeah.
You used to get me gyro on a Wednesday.
That was it, yeah. Exactly that.
Big Wednesday.
Big Wednesday.
Gyro Day.
It's a surfing term, I think, as well, isn't
Well,
it?
I
Something,
think
something
there
like that.
There was a film about
There was a film,
surfing
that was it, yeah.
called Big Wednesday, but the song is about that was the day when our doll used to come.
Yeah.
Gyro.
Yeah, like the Lord's Day, as it were.
Now, are you coming back, Virginia? Yeah.
I'm just coming back with more lamps.
Right.
It's a bit of a thing, a bit of a task you've set me here.
I like. There's no plugs basically, are there?
There's plugs, but I don't know whether.
Do you know what? There's a plug down there, down
This
at,
one.
at this side. Oh yeah, stuff just happened. That's just happened. You just lit us up.
There we are. A couple of candles here as well, church candles.
I think, can you not just take a more proactive role like this when we do live concerts with lighting?
I think you should shut
Oh,
your
good.
face.
Right.
There we are. There we are. We're illuminated now, aren't we?
So
We're lit
moving on
up.
to, I would say, this next song is one of the songs, the older songs from the Tansad days that we, as Merry Hell, get asked for the most. People who've known the band from the past always ask about this next song. But do you remember that? I shan't name any names, but I do remember one particular moment. We get asked to play this song, and quite often we let people down and say, no, we're not playing it, you know what I mean? Because we've never really been satisfied with the way that we play it, you know what I mean? We've never really been comfortable with how we've done it, but we have done it, but it's never been perfect. And mostly we just sort of say, oh no, we're not playing that tonight because we don't know it all. We've got loads of new stuff to play and blah, blah, blah. But on one particular occasion, one lady we were having a conversation with, and we said, Bob, I think it was, trying to explain to that lady, well, no, we're not playing it tonight because, and she said, because it's too magical. It's too magical, isn't it? And Bob, quite seamlessly, just went, Yes, that's why we're not playing it. It's because it's too magical.
Too
We know
magical.
it completely. We know the words. We know the music. It's just too magical.
Too magical. Cannot unleash it on the
too
public.
magical for Birmingham.
Well, I mean, I think that we're probably going to prove next that it's not.
It's not that
There's
magical.
no magical
Quite
about
magically
it.
enough.
We have quite a following in Darwin, don't we? And I don't really know how that occurred, but we have a fan base in around Darwin. We play at Darwin Theatre. Up the A66, off we go, and it's they're particularly fond of it for obvious reasons.
So
in that
hello
area.
to everybody in Darwin.
In
and
Darwin, hello
Blackburn
to you.
And Oswald Twistle and also
Yeah.
Andy Dislicks.
Yes, Oswald Twistle, which we struggled to say, but you said it.
I did, but well, I said it that time. I won't attempt it again.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
It's
gonna
very
quit
good
while I'm
before a
ahead.
gig to say Oswald Twistle,
Yeah.
Oswald Twistle, Oswald Twistle. You ready then to
You
greet
can
your
face
audience?
anything.
Yes.
But this is a song that we actually was a Tansad song that we never released. I can't remember. I think we tried version after version of it and it never worked. And then we sort of found a way to play it in Merry Hell. So this is we're coming onto this thing where we got kind of some crossover tracks, which we certainly don't play this song enough. And in Merry Hell, but it's coming back from a long time ago, and we should let's keep it here now.
Try and remember it.
Pendle Hill.
I once had a teacher who said silence is golden. He said put your name on everything if you don't want it stolen. But sir, who owns the rolling fields? And sir, who owns the standing stones? And sir, who owns the restless sea? It's not you, and it's not me. I once had a teacher who said you'll grow up too soon. You get washed up on higher moral ground, singing Tory party pop tunes. I once had a teacher who said you'll come to no good. You want to be a fitter. That's the best one I've heard all year. But sir, you only knew my name. You never really knew me at all. And sir, you only ever sent me to face the wall. I used to live off outrage, but now I've got a mortgage. I used to be the cock of the school, but now I'm just a no-bill paying, tax evading fool. But sir, I've walked the rolling fields and felt the magic flying, and seen the sorrow in the silver sky that tells you that hope is dying. So go and stand on Pendle Hill and watch the sun rising, to understand that there's a light shining still, whether you're laughing or you're crying, or you're crying, or you're crying. You're not crying.
Come all you shipwrecked angels through static on the wire. I see your sun is rising to fill our hearts with fire.
Yeah.
Ah,
I just
bit
say,
of magic from Merry Hell.
but it came from a very unmagical place, that song altogether. That I made that up again, as I said before, quite a long time ago, and it was based on another of those life experiences where I'd come. It was my physics teacher actually. I think when I was in the lower sixth form, and I'd become a little bit interested in politics and economics and stuff like that, and I've become aware of social injustices, and a lot of our family heritage has been we've our parents and forebears and relations have always been very aware of that sort of stuff and have taught us about it. But I remember the teacher saying to me, physics teacher who meant no harm really at all, but I remember him saying, "Look, lad, you're spouting all this stuff now, but by the time you're 30, you'll be voting Tory, and you'll have a mortgage, and everything will be quite different to what you think it's going to be." Totally wrong, Mr. Physics teacher. Still ain't got a mortgage. And but one thing was a total untruth. I was never the cock of the school. That was a lad called David Wiles, actually. Everybody feared in extremis. David Wiles, yeah. It wasn't me at all. I was really soft. There you are.
There you are.
There you are.
So then, so you grew up at that point, and what the next song is always got an interesting story to it, John. I mean, you know what I mean? Again, when as a young sort of teenager and you were writing these songs, I used to listen to them. You'd make tapes and stuff, and I would secretly listen to them and not let you know that I liked them. Do you know what I mean?
Quite right, yeah.
Yeah,
Quite
and
right.
of course, 'cause I didn't want you to be a swellhead.
No.
But you then decided to go travelling with various people, including
with himself, yeah.
with the fiddle player that we have now, Neil McCartney.
Neil McCartney. Hello, Neil.
You decided to go travelling, and
Are you in G there?
G,
You're gonna be in
yeah.
G, yeah.
there's a G.
You were in the south of France, weren't you?
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. We went on a kind of a busking trip, really. The idea was to sort of work our way via Glastonbury through to the south of France, and earn our living through busking, and it was all going kind of all right. There were some troubles along the way, as you got to have that on such a road trip. I think I'd broken up with my then girlfriend somewhere around Lyon, something like that, and that was that. And there was like sort of basically the trip ended up with a situation where it was just me and Neil, and lost me train. Oh yeah. So we were trying to busk our way, sort of thing, and then we foolishly went for a bawdy night out with some nice French people that we'd met, and left my guitar and Neil's really expensive camera and probably other things in my Austin Maxi on the front in Marseille. And when we returned, quite obviously all those items were gone. So our ability to earn a living was somewhat reduced from playing of music. And I don't think Neil wasn't particularly busking with his camera, but nevertheless there was losses. We made losses, and it taught me. I learned a thing, because I then spent a good 2 or 3 days, which is nothing really, obviously, 2 or 3 days without income, begging for some change, basically, on the street. And it made me realise that anyone can find themselves in those circumstances really incredibly easily. Just a simple twist of fate, and that's what can happen to you. And I was lucky enough to have a family and friends. I managed to. It was the old days, so you couldn't really, no internet or anything like that. And I managed to get a phone call through to my Auntie Joan, actually, who told my parents that I was in difficulties, and they wired £200, I remember, to a Barclays bank in Marseille. I remember the consulate weren't much help, and I think it let me have a free phone call. But anyway, got some money. Was very, very lucky, and we managed to get back to England, somewhat with tail between legs, but very, very grateful to realise what I really wanted was what I already had. And I made a song about it called Satisfied, and this is it. It's about being satisfied. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3.
Oh my love, what is the matter with me? I stayed in this town for 20 odd years and was satisfied. Oh my love, what is the matter with me? I signed on the door for 8 long years and was satisfied. I'll tell a tale of when I went down to the sea to play me guitar. I bust in the town and my skin turned brown in an hour. A feeling of freedom was following me. It was summertime. But then one night some bastard stole my guitar, and stranded I was, and me having no further practical resources left in my brain. I wept and begged on the street like a child, like millions of people lost in the world, millions of people lost in this whirling world. So I will say freedom's where your family is, and a few friends, and if you are lucky enough to have them, let them know that you're satisfied. You're satisfied. You're satisfied. I'm satisfied. There's millions of people lost in the world. 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 Millions of people lost in this swirling world.
Wow.
Good story.
I've
Yeah.
got two things to say about that song. One is, I remember us playing it at Rithin Folk Club. The folk club at the time was so tiny that they could only take the 4 of us. They just had the 4 kettles on a sort of, again, it was like a pallet really, just a tiny little stage. And the 4 of us played that, and there wasn't a dry eye
Yeah.
in the house. It seemed to resonate with so many people,
People
all these
do
years
love it.
later, you know. And the other thing to say is, I also was busking in the south of France around that time, hitching. I think we all did this. Hitchhiked to France, busked, and then hitchhiked back to sign on and get your gyro, which was about £80 a fortnight then, but it was a lot of money.
That's it.
Hitchhike back, get your gyro, cash it, and then hitchhike back to the south of France and carry on busking. I tell you, those days will probably never come again. They were quite special, really. Thank you to the government for allowing us our artistic license there to learn our craft.
Thank you
Yes,
very
and the
much.
British taxpayer. I think we've paid our dues since then, haven't we? We've paid it back, but it was a special time.
Yes.
So, Virginia, we're going on about the Tansads all the time and everything in the early days, but then we began a new band. You know what I mean? That happened. How did that come about? Like,
Well, I think you did some, like, what do you call them? You did
Reunions.
reunion gigs, didn't you? At the in St Helens at the Citadel, which is now closed actually. So it's even more special now. And John had been saying, well, you'd all been saying you'd quite like to reform and do something else. And I think you'd asked me if I would submit some songs, hadn't you?
Yeah.
Hadn't really thought about joining in and singing. And then I came to see your reunion shows, and I was absolutely bowled over and thought, wow, the energy in this, I really want to be part of this. And then put together Merry Hell. Where did the name come from? I'm not sure.
It was suggested by our manager, Damien, and it's actually taken from a Tansads lyric, which is one of John's songs called Separate Souls, which is on the end of the Flock album, and the line is...
Get you gone then to the nunnery for dreamers, lay you down in merry hell.
Oh.
That's where it comes
It's like something from a children's, like music time, wasn't it?
Rob Jane and
Sing along, children.
That's it.
Tittle on the tongue.
Yeah, let's teach the children about hell, boys. Boys, you know.
It's an Augustinian concept, children.
That's
Don't
it.
worry.
Get,
not
get,
real.
get you gone then to a nunnery. Is that not Shakespeare?
I think it is. Yeah.
I think
Nicked
it
it from
is.
Shakespeare.
Well, there's a line in Hamlet where Hamlet says to Ophelia, "Get
Get
thee
thee
gone
gone."
to a nunnery."
Yeah, which was a bit rude,
Yes,
if you don't mind
in
me
those
saying.
days, Yeah.
But it's
Because
interesting
that's
you
where
said
you-
about
it
Pendle
has another meaning,
Hill about your
doesn't it?
teacher, because I had an English teacher at school in Manchester who said, "This is Shakespeare. I don't know why I'm telling you about it because none of you are ever going to understand it." And when I got to college and was studying Shakespeare, I thought, methinks she protested a bit too much there. Because what an awful thing to say, though, how to diminish your class like that. You know. But fortunately, a lot of my other teachers were great.
I have to say, just on the flip side of that when, in my case, that was sort of true. The closest I got to Shakespeare was it was a make for fishing gear that was kind of cheap and you got it out of Argos. Shakespeare. I always wanted a Shakespeare fishing box and a Shakespeare reel. I never got one of that. You know what I mean?
To fish or not to fish?
Exactly.
That is the question.
The thing that's just stuck with me as well, again, because I didn't have a great experience. We did Merchant to Venice for our O level, but the thing that I've loved ever since was Mrs. Freeman, who was a great exponent and champion of Shakespeare, explained the meaning of the word roam. To roam, I wouldst not roam upon thy beard. To spit. What a brilliant way to say spit. Roam. Yeah, roam. It's never left me.
We have. I have that word rom, which is what
Rom,
my job is. All ramming. Like,
Ramming, yeah.
What is ramming?
Ramming is sort of like just when you malt, when you sort of like.
Sorry, that's not helping.
It's awkward. It's awkward.
Orchid
No,
malt.
sorry,
ramming.
none of these.
No,
Anyone at home know what that is?
you get
It's kind of like crawling and ramming. Like, say for example, under a vehicle.
kind of
or-
awkward in a vehicle, or when you do it when you're mauling under a sink or something. If you're a plumber,
Yeah, ramming.
plumbing is all
Ramming.
ramming. I know loads of plumbers. Who give it up because it's all ramming.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And my
Ramming.
job,
Orchid.
you're always in tight spaces and it's always awkward. So yeah. So I was.
Yes, so sorry, go on.
So we ended. You you joined. You know?
Yeah, so I joined, and then afterwards Neil joined. And what's come along is lots of songwriters, because we've all
Don't
come
jostle,
from...
mate.
No jostling.
there.
No jostling.
You see that on the camera.
Yeah, actually,
there,
that was witnessed, wasn't it? There was some jostling there. We don't allow
It's
that.
jostling. He's jostling everything. I go, look at him, get.
Should we not bring one of them
Jostling
candles in and just put it there, because it's going a bit gloaming, isn't it?
There's some behind us if you
Think of them. Look there.
want to get one.
Oh,
And yeah, we've arrived at the configuration that is now Merry Hell, and it along the way it's brought quite a few different songwriters as well, because Bob, you were doing singer-songwriter stuff, and I was, and Neil's brought his own songs as well, and Lee writes, so
Yes.
altogether there are five writers in the band, so
I mean, that is a question that we get asked all the time in interviews.
it's amazing. It's
you know,
quite unique, I think.
They
really.
always ask, like, how there's 5 writers in your band. They're always sort of incredulous at that, and say,
Yeah.
and you get on. You
Yeah.
sort of like, are you falling out all the time? And it's kind of boring when we say, well, no, actually, we all sort of like we've got this sort of like relationship with each other.
Yeah.
That's, all of that falling out was all sort of done years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
And now we just have this sort of mutual respect for each other and love of songs. You know what I mean?
It's genuinely true, and I think we like each other's songs more than we like our own. When we all arrive in a room to listen to
Yeah.
each other's songs, I think I get a genuine thrill.
Yeah.
To
We
hear.
champion each
and then
other's
we
stuff, don't
forget
we, really? Yeah.
whose they are, don't we? Because we take ownership for them all.
See, I mean, I get asked it, because I don't write. So, like, I always say in interviews and stuff that I get the sort of privilege of singing these songs. They get brought and I learn these songs and sing them. But I always say as well, and I don't know whether it's because we're family or what it is. I don't know what it is that you can quantify it. But I always feel like it's equally my songs. Do you know what I mean? I never feel like somebody else's songs that I'm singing. I don't feel like I'm on a karaoke or a... Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I sort of mean and feel the songs and sort of render them as best I can in my own sort of technical ability. But like, they never feel like somebody else's songs. They always
That's
feel
what you
like
want your
my
audience
songs.
to feel like as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you want the audience to. It's not about like sort of focusing on one individual, saying they're the key person, the star, or anything like that. It's the whole thing about our band is entirely the antithesis. I can't say antithesis.
Antithesis.
Yeah.
Antithesis.
The antithesis.
Yeah. Opposite.
The opposite.
Well done. Sorry for jostling.
No, but and it sounds like we're going into that sort of thing now, where it's like, the curry sherry sort of thing. But it kind of is that, isn't it? What's point if you're not going to do if you're not going with that with our resources that we've got,
But on that note, Virginia, would you not sing us one of your songs?
I will. I think I'm going to sing Human Communion.
Yes.
And this is an interesting one, because I don't know if you've ever done this, Bob, but I wrote two. I loved that title, Human Communion. I like the way that it sort of balanced in rhyme and what it meant as well, what it stood for. And I wrote 2 songs back to back with the same title. And one of them is on one of my solo albums years ago, 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And then this one has gone on a solo. It went on one of our albums, didn't it?
Yes.
it's on.
Is it on Ghost in Our
Ghost,
House?
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
And it's one of them where it's like, why haven't we played this song? Why haven't we been doing it at all our concerts? Because it seems to me to
Fantastic
be
song.
the
It's one of my favourite
quintessential
songs.
sort of
I
Merry
have
Hell
to say,
song,
I don't.
really.
It's not. It's kind of a stupid thing, to say, really, and I mean this in the most sort of humblest of ways. But it's one of the songs that I hear in a stadium. Do you get me?
Yeah.
It's when I think we save it until we're saving it.
We'll get there.
Saving it,
We're
yeah,
saving
saving
it.
yeah,
We'll
yeah.
get there one day,
Until there's a
brother-in-law.
really big
Yeah.
festival audience.
Sadly,
that
by
can-
then we'll be helped on to the stage.
Even so,
Looking forward
even
to
so,
that, to being helped on.
yeah.
Yeah.
Instead
About
of being
bloody time that we
Helped
were
on. Yeah, we'll have a minder. Come on, push his bum, get him
That's
on.
it, that's
And
it.
there'll be a break after every 2 songs for the toilet as well.
Yeah,
But we'll,
so
but
when
we'll
you
make
listen
it.
to
We'll
this
make it
song,
to the stadium.
People, bear that in mind.
Bear that in mind. That's what you've got to come.
Can I-
All that
So
glamour.
Virginia's beautiful song.
my just again breaking in, sorry, but my granddaughter's favourite song.
Oh,
And when she was small, it was Amuna Mamunian.
I wrote it as that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
This is for you then, Phoebes.
Yeah.
this will be last. The weak be strong and the slow be fast. Get up, stand up for human communion. One day, the empty are gonna live in the land of plenty. This one against one is doing us wrong, so wrong. But together we are strong. All of you people here in the crowd, can you give more love? Can you say it out loud? Get up, stand up for human communion. One from the heart and two from the soul. If you give it out, you get it back tenfold. Get up, stand up. This is human communion. No home, no shelter. Sleeping night after night in the gutter. Let me not be too proud to remember that you are still my brother. All of you people here in the crowd, can you give more love? Can you say it out loud? Get up, stand up for human communion. Do-do-do, do-do, do-do-do, 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 yeah. All of you people here in the crowd, can you give more love? Can you say it out loud? Get up, stand up. This is human communion. Human, human communion. Human, human communion. You're my flesh and brother. Human, human communion. Yeah. Human, human communion.
You know, Andrew, I remember we turned up at the old studio when we were making that album, John's old studio in Bamford.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a white knuckle ride. I remember finishing the lyrics to Ghost in Our House because you'd said, I want it ready when you arrive at the studio. I was finishing it at the St Helens traffic lights. I was, and this
Doing your own
lorry
rock-up
behind
bus.
me was bibbing the horn, saying like, you know, the lights have changed. And I was trying to write it down. I had these ideas. It was a real fast-paced album trying to finish, and I'd written these harmonies for that song for Andrew to sing, and they were quite high. I remember you coming in and having to wear particularly tight trousers, to be honest, to be able to
I've
get
never
them.
recovered. Never recovered at
Yeah.
all.
They were great harmonies, though. You did a good job.
Yeah.
I'm lighting you to that side.
Very good.
Doing
Well,
your
listen,
light.
do you know what? Is there any chance you could... can you sing a song?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's about time.
It's about time, isn't it? It's about time. So I want to do. Well, we're thinking about things that we've not done for a while. So I wrote this for my love, Laura, and actually I met her at Liverpool John Moores University when I was doing my first degree there. In the station, and funnily enough, she recognised me because she never heard of anybody called Kettle other than in a band called the Tansads, and my hairstyle was reminiscent of the 1990s, and that was the early 1990s, so it could only be me. And it's a song about love, and the fact that if you love somebody, you want them to be more of that person, not less. So,
Yeah.
you know, so love is liberty, not jealousy. So that's what it's about.
And can we raise a little toast to Laura Taylor? She's a very fine poet as well.
Yeah.
Like her very much. Cheers, Laura.
Laura Taylor.
Laura Taylor.
That's what happens wherever Laura goes.
That's
Quick,
exactly
Luke,
what
let's have a
happens.
look. Can we just see?
Surrounded by flamenco.
I think so, yeah. I think.
It gets brighter and brighter with all that, doesn't it?
It'll be right though, because... Sorry, I've spoiled it.
No, you're all right.
Just
I
for the
can
viewer,
just see
it's
Virginia dropping.
going darker and darker and darker outside as the evening falls.
I can see
and
you
it's-
now, though. I
It's
can see
starting
you.
to feel like autumn, isn't it? A little
It's
bit as
very-
well.
it
The
is,
nights
like
are drawing in.
autumn.
It's quite
Yeah,
a nice
that's it.
feeling.
The chilly.
It's
quite a
Chilly
nice
in the
feeling.
evenings and
I
stuff.
do. I love the season. Do you?
Yeah.
I love the
I
season.
like all of all,
Yeah.
every single season I
Yeah.
like,
A
yeah.
bit dark and chilly.
Anyway, Bob, off you go with your
It's
song.
me singing.
Yeah, it is.
I'll
You
bring
go
some
to
more
a
wine
short
in.
slip.
I hope it would. Yeah, I'm gonna
Have a short slip.
Have a short slurp. Cheers, everyone.
Grenco, the Galloping Gourmet, short slip.
I wandered the world, I travelled for miles. I met many lost souls who offered me wine, and I gave them my time and the songs that I sing, till they tighten their fists round the butterfly's wing. Thank you for the liberty you opened my heart to the heavens inside where the miracle star. It's new and it's beautiful, it's strange and it's slow. I never loved anybody like I love you. We crossed paths on the platform, we wore the same flame. We walked word with some poetry, kisses and pain. And I was fighting my time till I met you again, with my head full of magic and shoes full of wine. Thank you for the liberty you opened my heart to the heavens inside where the miracle star. It's new and it's beautiful, it's strange and it's true. I never loved anybody like I love you. Well, my days became long and my nights became cold, but you lived in my mind and you unlocked my soul, till I woke in a flame in the arms of despair, to a day shining bright as the chiming of bells. So come all of you people and sing if you see that I can't give to you if you can't take from me. So I ask all you lovers wherever you be, how can we speak the truth if we cannot speak free? Thank you for the liberty you opened my heart to the heavens inside where the miracle star. New and it's beautiful, it's strange and it's true. I never loved anybody like I love you. I never loved anybody like I love you.
Oh,
Yeah, but
why don't we do that?
Yeah.
Use the-
Why don't we do? Do you know we loved it so much that we named an album after it? Head full of magic, shoes full of rain. You heard the line in there. So I love that song.
We'll have to do 40-song sets.
But well, yeah, we could. Well, yeah, at least 40.
Be dull for the audience, though, wouldn't it? That 40 songs.
So
yeah. Will you not do one for us, John?
Okay, yeah. I can see that you're surreptitiously looking at the set list there, Bob.
Yeah.
Which is prompting me to try and remember which that song that might be. I think it might be Rosanna Let Me In, which we had planned to do. This song, okay, I don't think we've ever played it live before. It was on Headful as well. A bit. It's sort of a pop song, really. But what amuses me about it greatly is that we've used the name Rosanna a couple of times in songs. Virginia's Rosanna song and this one, Rosanna Let Me In. It's a little bit of it's a smoochy sort of song, really, about sort of a chap, or it could be a woman that is a bit disconnected, and she or she is seeking some sort of like healing from the beloved.
And when I get that feeling, I won't.
Automatically going into funk there. But so it's sort of about that. But these songs I needed a name for this song because initially I'd like Jimmy. Oh Jimmy. So you see what I say? It's not really gonna work. Oh Jimmy. I couldn't think of anything.
Put your arms around me, Jimmy.
So I nicked Virginia. And what's wrong with that? What's wrong with Jimmy in a certain context?
I know
Nothing.
a lot of
It's a
nice
cold-
Jimmys.
There's a lot of nice
Cold night in
Jimmys.
Glasgow, you know. You're not picky.
But I needed a name, and we've got this mate Rosanna Flood, and Rosanna is simply a poetic name. It's simple as that. So I first of all counselled with Verge and said, like, it's all right if I kind of nick your song title here a little bit. And she said that probably would be all right if I gave her half the royalties. but the amusing thing was we didn't tell Rosanna about this song, and it of course appeared on this record. And I got put into this awkward position once where we were away on a sort of a weekend away, actually in like a 400-year-old house with no electric or no running water, stream outside, middle of the Welsh Hills, and fireside sing song, a little bit like this, and they made me sing Rosanna Let Me In, which and it's a fruity tune, to be honest. And at the end of it, her only response was, "John, I will not let you in." Simple as that.
Well, no, actually, before that, you said, "Rosanna, let me in." And Rosanna's husband said, "Good luck with that, John."
Yeah.
Sorry, David.
The
secrets of the 400-year-old farmhouse.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
What's
It's a fruity song, but we all need our five
We
a
all
day.
need a bit of fully
But I can't
We
remember
do.
these words, so I've a little cheat sheet here on my knee. No wrong with that.
It's been a while, hasn't
Yeah.
it?
Sundown, black as I.
Shall we just do that?
Sundown, black as I.
Start again.
Yes,
Leave a
I am.
gap
I
if you
am.
would.
I'm working out
'Cause
what
it's
it
hard
actually
to
is.
edit
I've
otherwise.
forgotten it. Sundown, black as ice. Is it? I'll be reading now.
Road
Yeah.
to paradise.
Join in it, chorus. So help me
will.
with it. Okay. Sundown, black as ice. Is this the road to paradise? Paralyzed inside. No, I don't know why. Maybe it's the city cold. Maybe I'm just feeling old. I'm paranoid inside, and I don't know why. I'm disconnected, Rosanna. Put your arms around me and lay your sweetness on my skin. Oh, darling, sing it softly to me. close and let me in. Moonrise lullaby, lonely stars in a crowded sky, desolate inside, and I don't know why. Fast card ticking time, unanswered call on a twisted line, paranoid inside, and I don't know why. I'm disconnected, Rosanna. Would you put your arms around me, lay your sweetness on my skin? Oh, darling, sing it softly to me, and hold me close and let me in. Rosanna, put your arms around me, lay your sweetness on my skin. Oh, darling, sing it softly to me, hold me close and let me in. I will not let you in, John.
Quite right too, Rosanna.
Well done.
Very nice, very nice.
Wow, it's
Smashing
just,
song.
God, I mean, you just don't hear them songs.
No, you
just
don't.
play.
No.
You've a number like you've another few like that.
There's loads
Well,
of
there's
songs
probably a
that-
few
there
we've
is.
discarded. Though. It's but what's one of our problems with the Hell, isn't it? It's because we write a lot of tunes, and then you've kind of to get them into your set. You've got to kind of turn over your set continually, which requires a constant rehearsal. But we're constantly on tour, or we were, and that provides, and we're still at a situation where we've all got like full-time jobs.
I think as
Most
well
of
that
us.
the sort of a you're sort of like a victim of your own success as well, in the sense that like you write a set that goes down well, and because we're a band that sort of like really enjoys the audience to be part of our show, we get them for join in and stuff, and we do all them daft sort of hand movements and stuff like that, and get them to sing along with us, and that means that them songs become favourites.
Yeah.
So then you become sort of duty bound
Yeah.
Play
to
on.
play
Yeah.
those songs in the set.
And don't forget, we're
it's a joy to do
constantly
it.
playing, so to have time to say, oh, let's add a few more songs tonight.
That's it.
You know, we're on the road maybe 6-7 nights
That's it.
in a
It's
row.
one of them things.
And we've just written
a
a new record. We just got a new record, which is 14 tracks, and there's not one song on that I don't want to play us to play live.
Yeah.
It's
We might
like
have to do a
so
whole
proud of
show
it.
of the
And
new.
so it's just got to be so it's like flipping heck,
Yeah.
you know, like there's a lot. We are embarrassed with our riches, really, aren't we? You know, it's like.
But you know what's really lovely is that it's members of the audience who will remind us of the songs that we don't play.
Absolutely.
And they're very, very often artisans. I remember off the top of my head a woman who makes ice cream who came up and said, well, I always have Merry Hell on when I'm churning my ices. There's a Labour MP off the top of my head who always listens to Merry Hell for inspiration. And there's a vicar as well who loves our stuff, and it's just, and there's a chef as well at the Freud's restaurant in Suffolk who at the moment is saying he wants to do some cookery demonstrations with Merry Hell in the background, songs that match the dishes. He's asked us all
very
for our
flattering,
favourite
that is.
dishes.
No
so-
accounting for taste.
no, there isn't. But I love the fact that they remind us of songs that we no longer play. Why don't you play that? Why don't you play that anymore? I
Yeah.
love that song. You
Yeah.
know, it's great.
And it was like when we were talking about the Pendle Hill thing before, that the lady had said, "Oh, it's really magical." Terry, her name was actually, and we just couldn't play it because we'd not rehearsed it, and it's a thing, isn't it? You know, it's like anyway. It's a first world problems.
Yeah.
We've played them now.
Absolutely.
We've played a few
Yeah,
now.
play them
Give us
now.
another
For what
go.
it's worth, yeah.
So
Give
what's
us another.
another? What might another be?
Another kind of.
Oh, right. I'll tell you what. Let's do this one. We thought about this. First album again, going back. While we're in a romantic frame of mind, which I often am, ladies and gentlemen.
It's
Tell anybody.
It exudes. Romance exudes. So, a song called "Hold You Tonight." I sort of wrote this for Virginia Barrett, this girl called Virginia Barrett that I met. How many years ago?
Nearly 20.
Nearly 20 years ago. She was a client of mine in the studio, and she shone. She was a beacon of sort of talent and humour and sort of, and she weren't bad looking either. And we were working together, and we became friends, and then became a more than that. And I wrote a love song when we first met, really from the bottom of my heart, sort of thing, all the time. Made a big, terrible error though. I gave her this song on a little CD for Christmas, CDR, and I even drew a little Christmas tree on it, trying to be sort of like cute. And
Ever the romantic.
Yeah,
I've still got it.
yeah, and I wrote on the cover of the CD, Happy Christmas, Virginia, but I unfortunately spelt Virginia's name wrong, and I misappropriated her name with I almost said popular head, but like another part of the female anatomy.
Basically, Happy Christmas, vagina. That's it. Lovely.
It's a bit forward, isn't
On the
it?
one hand, so marvellous. On the other hand, a terrible grammatical error.
Yeah.
So,
Didn't know where to put my face.
would you not play us a song, Joe?
Yeah, we'll try. Let's try it on that note.
You are breathtaking, heartbreaking, there by my side. And I pray I can hold you tonight. Be my rhythm, my heartbeat, be always my pride. I just pray I can hold you tonight. It won't be long. It won't be long. It won't be long. It won't be long. You are mystical, star-tangled, wrapped in your song. And I pray I can hold you tonight. Be my hero, my heroine, sweet guiding light. I just pray I can hold you tonight. It won't be long. It won't be long. It won't be long. It won't be long. You are breathtaking, heartbreaking, there by my side. And I pray I can hold you tonight. And I pray I can hold you tonight. I just pray I can hold you tonight.
Yeah. You remember all those years later? You
All those
remembered
years
it.
later. It won't be long. It was a while though, wasn't it, John?
Right, well, I reckon one more
We've got
track.
time for
more.
one
Got
more.
something as we can sing along to, yeah?
One more, and we'll sing this. This goes back a little bit of time, doesn't it, as well?
It was a Tansads song which
Yeah.
never got released, and I don't know what happened with it. We were doing it for Up the Shirkers, and it just didn't work out. I know the producer really loved it, and then we did not render it in a suitable way, and it got binned. And then much later, we bit of a lyric change, and it ended up on what record?
It's on Ghost in Our
on Ghost,
House.
is it?
And
Yeah.
I'm pretty certain. It's another one that got on the album and we never played it.
Ever, you know.
And
I don't know
it's-
why.
I don't know, because we'll have a sing of it now.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a really
And we'll
good,
see.
fun song to sing
Yeah,
along
it's just a
with.
daft
Maybe you
song.
can
It's a
sing along
daft.
with us.
Yeah, it's a daft
You know?
track, isn't it?
We
It's a daft, yeah.
thank you all for watching, and we want to say please send us your lost songs from the Tansads and Merry Hell, because if we get the chance to do this again, we will do one entirely made up of your choices.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
we'll look forward to seeing you,
That's a good idea.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'd like to just thank everybody for coming into our little world and allowing us to be stupid and tell daft old stories and joining in with us. So just stay safe, everybody, and we'll see you all soon.
See ya.
Nice
Cheers.
one.
Cheers.
This
Elephant.
song is called Scotty.
Scotty. Scotty.
My life is okay, I suppose. I'd like some money in the bank, and I'd love a perfect nose. Would Captain America care to dance with this wild English rose? But I ended up with the pig, with his surgical support and his ill-fitting wig. Before I get any older, I would sure love to dance me a jig.
Don't need no song of hope when we're swinging, dangling from a gallows rope. Don't need no song of love when we're singing with the angels up above. Hey Scotty, beam us up, we'll drink barley wine from a broken cup. Hey Captain, tell us true, do you know where you're going to? Do you know where we're going?
Sometimes I think I'll run away to an island in the sun or a city far away. But I'll be doing the ironing, and the irony is here I'll stay.
I don't need no song of hope when I'm swinging, dangling on a gallows rope. I don't need no song of love when we're singing with the angels up above. Hey Scotty, beam us up, we'll drink barley wine from a broken cup. Hey Captain, tell us true, do you know where we're going to? Do you know where we're going?
I don't know where we're going, do you?
I have no idea.
I'll go there too.
Should we go to another chorus? Should we take it
As
to
long
the
as we
bridge
stick
or the
together, we'll be
chorus?
all right.
Take it to the core.
Here we go then.
Don't need no song of hope when we're swinging, dangling on a gallows rope. Don't need no song of love when we're singing with the angels up above. Hey Scotty, beam us up, we'll drink barley wine from a broken cup. Hey Captain, tell us true, do you know where we're going to? Do you know where we're going to? Do you know where we're going?
10 years on and we've still got no bloody idea where we're going. Cheers.
Cheers, stay safe, see you soon.
Cheers, everyone. Stay safe.